Welcome back to Hot Water Wrestling, and here I am with my 2012 SummerSlam review. I'll start by saying overall I thought this was a great show. I had a lot of fun watching it, a lot of good action. It might have been a little better than I actually expected, and that's due to some of the undercard matches, if you could call them that. But for the first time in a little while, we had a really strong card from top to bottom here with SummerSlam 2012. I did not see the U.S. title match, the Anthony Cesaro versus Santino, so I can't comment on that. But I will comment on the rest of the pay-per-view, starting off with Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio. I think the show actually started with Jericho and Ziggler, I believe, but I'm just going to go ahead and start here. So, Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio. Both these guys remind me of classic superstars from years past. The match kind of had a classic feel to it. I thought these guys put on a pretty good match, all things considering. I didn't know exactly how it was going to really pan out, but good match. I think the feud's going to continue. Sheamus went on top, Sheamus went over, came out on top, which I predicted would happen. I just didn't think Alberto Del Rio was ready yet for the title shot, and plus we just don't know what's going to happen with Randy Orton, of course. So that was a very good match. You know, the ending was a little crappy, I guess you could say. A little, you know, not the best ending, but it was kind of, you know, had that kind of screwball thing where, you know, on these pay-per-views, it seems they always take one match and do some kind of ridiculous ending, and of course they did it twice. We'll get to the other one later. But on to The Miz versus The Miz versus Rey Mysterio. I thought this was a pretty good match. Rey Mysterio came out dressed up as Batman, which was pretty interesting. You know, for big pay-per-views, he always has kind of a themed costume, and I should have known better that it was going to be Batman or somebody from the Avengers this year, and it was. His Batman suit was pretty cool. He came out and challenged Miz for the Intercontinental title, and as I predicted, the Miz went over. It was a pretty good match with a lot of good spots. Ray just couldn't pull it out in the end. And I think it's good that Miz won so they can continue pushing his character and getting him back in the big picture of things. He's got the Intercontinental Championship, so I expect him to have, you know, some good matches here coming down the road. So props to Miz for taking the victory there. Next would have to be the Tag Team Championship, Kingston and Truth versus the Primetime Players. Now, I thought that the Primetime Players were going to take the title here, but I was wrong. Miz and Truth retained, so we'll see what's going on with the you know, championship from here on out. And the Primetime Players, the tag team, you know, are they going to continue to challenge for the titles, or was that kind of their last hurrah? But I thought this was a pretty good match, you know, as good as you would expect for a tag team match. You know, they kept it real. Next was Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler. I thought this was a really fantastic match. Actually, I believe this opened the show. And so that was a good opener to the show to get everybody started, to kick things off. Lots of good spots. Saw some great moves out of both people. Came down to the wire. Had me in suspense. Can't say enough good things about Dolph Ziggler. Obviously, Chris Jericho is amazing, and Ziggler proved that he can hang with any main event talent and put on an intriguing match, as he did here with Chris Jericho. Too bad there just wasn't a little more stipulation. I think, you know, guys like Jericho and Ziggler, who are totally different people, because, you know, Jericho's an established legend, and Ziggler's someone who is in the middle of establishing himself. You know, these guys have kind of had it rough all year with the returns of The Rock and Brock Lesnar. There's been a lot of focus shift there, so it was good for them to just come out, put on a great match. We'll see what happens. I don't know how much more time Jericho has left in the company, but I hope he sticks around for a little while longer, because that was a good match. Kane versus Daniel Bryan. way better than I expected it to be. I didn't know what to make of this match. It's kind of funny that at WrestleMania we had Daniel Bryan go against Sheamus, who was a big man, and then we had him go against Kane here at the other big pay-per-view of the year, versus Kane. Like I said, I didn't know what to make of this match, but I actually thought they put on a pretty good match. I was entertained. I like the fact that Daniel Bryan came out with the victory. I didn't think that was going to happen. My prediction was Kane was going to win this match, but Daniel Bryan snuck out the victory. Great spot where Daniel Bryan jumped off the top rope, came down, and Kane caught him with a choke slam. All the way, Kane was on his back and caught him with a choke slam and got all the way up and slammed him to the ground. It was incredible, really, really strong. Kane is just a really strong dude. I thought that was awesome, but in the end, Daniel Bryan was sneaky and he got around and he ended up pinning Kane. Next was, we'll go with CM Punk versus Big Show versus John Cena. Thought this match was pretty good. It kind of went the way I expected it to go, where you had Cena and CM Punk having to kind of both attack Big Show in order to get him down so they could fight over the championship. But Big Show was having none of it. He dominated a lot of the match. This match had kind of a screwball finish. CM Punk won the match. I think it was a double submission. Basically, Punk had him in the what the heck is the STS, or that's Cena's move. Cena had him in the STS, and Punk had him in his submission move. I can't remember it right now. I don't know why. And so it was a double tap out. AJ came out from the back and restarted the match, and Punk ended up coming away with the victory after all. But you know, this match could have been better, but it could have been way worse. I was really shocked that CM Punk retained the title. He's had this belt for a really long time, so I'm actually proud of him. Proud of WWE for you know, sticking with one guy, keeping the prestige up for the belt. This is something we've all talked about. We've wanted to see in WWE for a long time, but you know, that was the good part about it. I just didn't really like the ending of this match. I thought it could have been way better. And then on to a main event, Triple H versus Brock Lesnar, and you know, this was an ass kicker. It was a very violent match, very brutal match. You know, both Brock Lesnar matches since he's been back have been very, you know, liking to his character, which is a no bones, no BS, you know, hard-nosed wrestler who's out to hurt people. And this match said the same thing as that Extreme Rules match with John Cena, with a lot of real dangerous spots and real painful-looking bumps the guys took. And you know, the one thing about this match that did bother me going into the pay-per-view is I was saying, how could they let Brock Lesnar lose 2 in a row? You know, because he lost to John Cena, of course, and how could they have him drop to Triple H? Triple H was obviously defending the honor of his family during this match, so you know, there was a lot of weight there. I was actually rooting for Triple H for some reason because of that. So they did a good job of doing that. I think a lot of people were rooting for Triple H. So Triple H did end up tapping out at the end from the armbar from Brock Lesnar, which is becoming sort of now his trademark, breaking everybody's arm. You know, one thing I'll say about Brock Lesnar is, for his size, he is such an agile athlete. Oh my God, he is so quick and so fast, and he did things last night that a man his size should not do. We all remember that amazing, you know, moonsault at the SummerSlam, or no, at WrestleMania versus Kurt Angle, when he just came off the rope there, and he hasn't lost any of that. He's just really amazing. It's just amazing how fast and quick and humongous this guy is. But you know, I look for this to continue on to Survivor Series. Triple H is definitely going to get his revenge. Definitely going to get a rematch, I'd have to say. We'll see what happens at WrestleMania. We don't know yet. We don't know for sure, 100% positive, if Undertaker's going to return. You know, we'd like to think that if Undertaker does return, it's going to be The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar for the streak, and a rematch between John Cena and The Rock for the WWE Championship. The way I see it is The Rock will win the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble against whomever that person may be, and then drop it to Cena at WrestleMania, and Cena will get his revenge at WrestleMania plus the WWE Championship. That's how I see it going down. Could be wrong, but that's how I see it. And you know, Brock Lesnar is the obvious opponent for The Undertaker. So I think Lesnar's feud and Triple H's feud will come to a head at Survivor Series. Could happen at the Royal Rumble, but I think as soon as Survivor Series, we're going to get a rematch here between these two, and Triple H should take the victory. But you know, lots of interesting things. It will be interesting as we build here now towards WrestleMania, getting into the fall. I heard someone say summer's over and it's all downhill from here. I don't know if they're talking about life or talking about wrestling, but for me, summer's the worst time for professional wrestling. It's kind of like the down season, the slow season for it. SummerSlam is what usually kicks it off, and then of course the Royal Rumble really kicks it off. But my favorite pay-per-views have always been, you know, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and then Extreme Rules, and probably Money in the Bank. But right in that pocket there, starting with SummerSlam, it's always really awesome, in my opinion. Through the fall and through the winter, wrestling is always its best. So I'm looking forward to it ramping up here in the next few months. But guess we got Night of Champions here in September, so we'll see what happens. You know, I thought there was a possibility that Big Show could take the title last night as a bridge. Just kind of bridge things out, but we'll have to see. I mean, there's a chance that CM Punk or John Cena is going to beat CM Punk for the WWE Championship at Survivor Series or Night of Champions or TLC or one of these pay-per-views here, and then lose it to The Rock at the Royal Rumble, making this a trilogy, and then actually coming back and winning it back from him. Who knows what's going to happen? You know, who knows if Stone Cold is going to come back? I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm trying to see how it's all going to shape up for WrestleMania next year. I know we're a little ways away, obviously, but now's when they start planting the seeds for things. What program is Triple H going to work next year? Obviously, he's not going to work The Undertaker. Maybe he will. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a trilogy. Maybe it won't be Brock Lesnar, but you'd have to think it would be Brock Lesnar. You know, what program is Triple H going to work? Is Shawn Michaels going to come back? Is Triple H going to feud with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, this coming WrestleMania? It could happen. I know Michaels said he's done for good and all that stuff, but you know, he could come back and blame him for getting his arm broken with Brock Lesnar, and they could have a falling out, and they could end up doing something, because I feel like there's got to be some sort of program for Triple H to work. You know, what program does Randy Orton work? I know the company's lost a little faith in him, so that's interesting. You know, is Stone Cold Steve Austin going to come back? Where's CM Punk going to fit in if he doesn't have the WWE Championship? You know, who's he going to fight? Is he going to fight Stone Cold? Is he going to fight Randy Orton? Is he going to fight Triple H? He's done that already. Who knows? So, anyways, stay tuned. Thanks for listening to my SummerSlam review. Out of 10, I don't really rate the shows too much, but I'll give this a solid 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10. It was a really entertaining show. No Divas match. The Santino match was, you know, obviously not really on the main card. It was a pre-show, so I'm not going to include that into the rating. But, you know, this is how a good pay-per-view should go. You know, a lot of wrestling business, straightforward, not a lot of gimmicky crap. You know, the ending of the Punk Cena Big Show match could have been better, but what do you expect when you get Big Show involved? You know, you're never going to get something that's completely outstanding because his size, you know, unless it's just a violent fest. And, you know, he did look like a monster last night, so it was fun. I'll see you next time on Hot Water Wrestling.